Okay, last night I did the revelation of Zephaniah and the revelation of, part of the revelation of Elijah. Tonight I want to talk about the revelation of Peter, because in my last comment, I said that Enoch and Elijah were the two prophets. This book also mentions Enoch and Elijah as being the two prophets. So that's two books, and there may be more that mention it. But the revelation of Peter was listed in the Muratorian canon among the two apocalypses, the other being the revelation of John. It was also supported by Clement of Alexandria. Clement is also in the Apocrypha as well. The translation that follows comes from the Ethiopic text. And the Ethiopic, if you haven't looked up the Ethiopia Bible, it's one of the oldest Bibles out there. And it has a lot of really good stuff in it. A Greek fragment discovered above differs considerably, but seems less supported. The Ethiopic thought to be older. So this book is talks about the end. So I'm going to just read through it. So the second coming of Christ and resurrection of the dead who died because of their sins, for that they did not keep the command of God, neither their Creator. No, it says keep the command of God. The command of God is to follow His word. And he, Peter, pondered therein, that he might perceive the mastery of the Son of God and the merciful lover of mercy. And when the Lord was seated on the Mount of Olives, his disciples came to him, and we implored and entreated him separately and pleaded to him, saying to him, declare to us what are the signs of your coming, of the end of the world, that we may perceive and mark the time of your coming, and instruct them that come after us, to whom preach the word of your good news, and whom yet your assembly, when they hear, that they may take heed to themselves and mark the time of your coming. And your Lord answered us, saying, take heed that no man deceive you, that you not be doubters and serve other gods. We've done this. All these pagan worshiping is worshiping other gods. Many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. Do not believe them, neither draw near to them, for the coming of the Son of Man will not be plain. So there are many false prophets, and they are out there big time right now. And there's also many antichrists out there that are right before your eyes that you just don't realize are there. But as the lightning that shines from the east to the west, so I will come on the clouds of heaven with the great host of my majesty, and I will come in my majesty with my cross going before me. The cross going before him is the sign, and that is mentioned in several of these books. My face, and I will come to in my majesty, shining sevenfold more than the sun, with all my holy ones, my messengers, and my Father will set a crown on my head, that I may judge the quick and the dead, and reward every man according to his works. And you take the likeness thereof from the fig tree. So as soon as the shoot thereon has come forth and the twigs grown, the end of the world will come. The fig tree, by the way, there's a fig tree that was dead for quite a while outside of Jerusalem, and it came to life, by the way, like within the last year or two, I think. And I, Peter, answered and said to him, interpret to me concerning the fig tree, whereby we will perceive it, for throughout all the days of the fig tree sends forth shoots, and every year it brings forth its fruit for its master. What then does the allegory of the fig tree mean? We do not know it. And the master answered and said to me, do you not understand that the fig tree is the house of Israel? Even as a man that planted a fig tree in his garden, it brought forth no fruit, and he sought the fruit thereof many years, and when he did not find it, he said to the keeper of his garden, root up this fig tree, and so it does not make our ground to be unfruitful. Jesus also ran into a person in the New Testament where he said, rip this fig tree out of the ground. And the gardener said, I'll rip it out personally if it doesn't come to pass in the near future. And the gardener said to God, allow us to rid it of weeds and dig the ground around it and water it. And if it then does not bear fruit, we will immediately remove its roots and out of the garden and plant another in its place. This is also in the New Testament, so this is not. This is from the Apocrypha, but yeah, you can see it's matching up with what's in the New Testament. Have you not understood that the fig tree is the house of Israel? Truly I say to you, when the twigs have sprouted forth in the last days, then pretend Christ will come in awake expectation, saying, I am the Christ that has now come into the world. And when they, Israel, will perceive the wickedness of their deeds, they will turn away after them and deny him, whom our fathers praised, even the first Christ, whom they crucified, therein sinned a great sin. There's a whole lot of Jews that have turned away from Christ, saying that the true Messiah has not come, so they have turned away. But this deceiver, the Antichrist, is not the Christ, and when they reject him, he will slay with the sword, and there will be many martyrs. Then the twigs of the fig tree, that's the house of Israel, will shoot forth. Many will become martyrs at his hand. Enoch and Elijah, namely the two witnesses, will be sent to teach them that this is the deceiver, which most come into the world and do signs and wonders to deceive. They're by the way, they're killed, and then they come back and they actually go after the Antichrist and kill him. So that's pretty cool. And therefore, they die by his hand will be martyrs, and will be reckoned among the good and righteous martyrs who have pleased God in their life. And he showed me in his right hand the souls of all men, and on the palm of his hand the image of that which will be accomplished at the last day, and how the righteous and the sinners will be separated, and how they do that are upright in heart, and how the evildoers will be rooted out through all ages. And it's not just our age, it's every single one of them, and that's the day of judgment. We beheld how the sinners wept in great affliction and sorrow, until all that saw it with their eyes wept, whether righteous or messengers, and he himself also. I asked him and said to him, Lord, permit me to speak your word concerning the sinners. It were better for them if they had not been created. And the Savior answered and said to me, Peter, why do you speak thus? And that it were better for them to not have been created. You resist God. You would not have more compassion than he for his image? For he has created them and brought them forth out of not being. Now because you have seen the lamentation which on the sinners in the last days, therefore your heart is troubled, but I will show you their works, whereby you have sinned against the Most High. Now behold, that will come down the last days, when the day of God and the day of decision of the judgment of God comes. From the east to the west, all the children of men will be gathered together before my Father that lives forever. He will command Hades to open its bars of adamant, and give up all that is therein. And he will command the wild beasts and the birds to restore all the flesh. And then basically the flesh is and this that dies and is sown as seed in the earth will become alive and be restored to life. And at the day of judgment, this will come on them that have fallen away from faith in God, and that have committed sin. Floods of fire will be let loose, and darkness and obscurity will come up and clothe and veil the whole world, and the waters will be changed and turned into coals of fire, and all that is in them will burn, and the sea will become fire. Under the sky will be a sharp fire that cannot be quenched, and all the stars of heaven will fly in peace of flames of fire, as if they had not been created. And the powers or expanses of the heavens will pass away for lack of water, and will be as though they had not been. And it says expanses right here. Sorry, I'm trying to read and do this at the same time. So expanses is the firmament, which is actually water, or it's like different densities of water. Yeah. For lack of water, it will be as though they had not been. The lightnings of the sky will no longer be, and their enchantment they will frighten the world, or the sky will turn to lightning, and the lightnings thereof will frighten the world. The spirits of the dead bodies will always like to them, and will become fire at the command of God. And as soon as the whole creation dissolves, the men that are in the east will flee the west, and those in the west to the east, and those in the south flee the north, and those in the north go to the south. In all places, the wrath of fearful fire will overtake them, and unquenchable flame driving them will bring them to judgment. So it keeps going on. But yes, and so he commands them to enter the river of fire for their deeds. But the unrighteous and the sinners and hypocrites will stand in the depths of darkness, and they will not pass away. And their discipline is the fire, and messengers will bring forward their sins and prepare for them a place wherein they will be punished in age long, and everyone according to his transgressions. So basically, if you've done any transgressions and haven't repented of it, you're going to be punished for it. Uriel, the messenger of God, will bring forth the souls of those sinners who perished in the flood, and of all that dwelt in all idols, and every molten image, and every object of love, and in pictures of those that dwelt on all hills, and in stones, and in wayside, blah, 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 and burn them with continuous fire. And after that, all of them with their dwelling places are destroyed, and they will be punished age long. And then it goes on, and it actually talks about how each sin is taken care of in hell, in the fire of the torment, and it actually talks about what the judgment for fornication is, and it also talks about so the women, so these are the women that basically had adulterous affairs, and but yeah, so it does go on about how each of the sins are handled, and so this is it's a pretty descriptive book, and so this is the Revelation of Peter, and thank you for listening. I just wanted to go through this and show you about the two witnesses and the false prophets, and give you another version of what's coming in the end of days. And I found a lot of stuff referring to the end of days and the day of judgment and all that, and it kind of pieces together more. But I'm going to keep doing this, where I'm going to read different chapters and different things, because I believe that it's time to reveal God's true word. So thank you for listening. God bless you all, and I will see you down the road, or maybe tomorrow. Who knows?